iri akagikora bitarusha ko umwaka gukwa ayenyera hekire kindi so akagikora biro bitano mwezi gwa mukago mwaka gwa 2025 kandi akabasa kuba nagamba ibintu binje munonga noreba muzeyi nengashi president Museveni no muntu wa obunyakare yanagama abana bahatu bakubyetegereza natana kata nawe you see 1990 konka banzo yanjure abari kutureba then tutandike kiganiro cyitutegereze mukuru wihanga
Twakutangira kutureba tayari Westin tukusima gugumani tweno tureba tukubantu kuretera kandi ihangweri ndi pleasure ajuna na mtahi wanje Joshua na tujuka tudiyo tukutwara mesho na nentebe kanse kugamba kwa president Yoweri Museveni kandi nkoku mtahi wanje Joshua yakushoborra okugamba okunukutana hakugamba okundo kututwire tumanyirire ahagwo kuba okugamba kwa president Yoweri Museveni hangweri nukuba kweta state of the nation address kandi nakira kores turukweta presidential address
yes
ezo nazigambira harukwenda ino bwari kubara naho mukara
ngo kora yagira ati nkatu nko kuturiyo muri Ebola ati TV zo na shahibiri still president nanagambira ihangari yona konkane yo mutana ryeyerizo
yes so ejo nakira kugikora harukwendera obumwe narya harwakitura obumwe nari state house muri Entebbe kandi nubwa kwendo bumwe na recordinga konkeji natekwa kurebe ko mu parliament nabwe cyo ahagwa parliament yitu ya Uganda yafunzire nojikangweje kombe ko mwako gwa 2005 na mukaga plan yaterwa nkaga yahwa konkeke yombe kirwa abanyishengero abarukwingana
Biden bakaba ryatanga mukaga
yes bakaba ombekire kinana hati turiyo muri bitano so hati nibinji ishengero rihanga rifunzire so president na opting for kololo kugira ngo babe no baganira
wata ho na social distancing yo bwiro buturumo bwa hati itogoro mark Nyabihebu ari kuri muri kororo twaguma na chipping na twereza abanyishengero ko bariyo mbatahamu abesera abagenyi bakuru okubariyo mbatahamu kujya gutugume kasavu kanyama twenda kupackagingera kurungi ekinte kujya gukigende kurungi wareba state of nation of address itwereze kugeraho omwako gwahwire 2025 koko nakujya president Museveni no muntu webyafayo the correct ideology of NRM ebigenero bya NRM because we nagamba kurga 1986 obuya kwata obwebembezi na ihanga ryito kuryizire ndahinduka akagamba ibintu byingi tuje kutematema muri yebyo because wakureba nka ideology yeye when I believe ingira umukintu cha patriotism, pan-africanism, socio-economic transformation na democracy kujya nkato kuturgira mu karuru abantu batera karuru omuntu barukwenda ntwakubikwata mpora katandikire ahari patriotism turebere omashomero abana mbabegeso kundi hanga na yesterday abantu abarebera amahuriro giti genshonga tukozeremo story turebere ba mind you yesterday ebere Matters Day turebere ba bishop barukugamba even Archbishop Kazimba arakugira ati it is high time tukundi hangari yetu patriotism tutandikiraho so far you noreba abantu kundi hangari yabo in fact ayongireho yagira ati omujungu akageta the power of Africa satimwe abacabanya Uganda mwenda kujesisira anshonga yo kundi hanga Joshua nintekateka ngo omuntu kundi hangari yawe nistandukaniwe kutandikira umuka oyekunda okundeka yawe okundechika okunde cyaro okundo mugongo bwenu okunda nintekateka ngo omuntu okunde nsiye tokuchumushomesa ohireho no yongera kumworeka ahabwachi ashimirire kunde nsiye kandi echo president ayizire nakiteka hamani kurwo myaka yankaga arukoreka ngo omuntu okunde nsi yawe no kugikorerera kandi abanyaganda benji bija batende ko miringe takushana tuine myanya nkugwa nali National Leadership Institute cyankwanzi aha abanyaganda abamwe no batekateka ngo necha NRM konka no mukoro necwe kachihanga ni state ninga government omwanya guyatireho kugira ngo abantu begesezebweyo deno mashomero ko kuwagamba amashomero nago nigakozesebwa munonga omukutendeka abana okuguma nibamanya ekibarakore obwe barukunda ensi yabo kandi hagaruka habaho okubegeseza omumiringo nyingi ayitukushanga ngo obwiro bumwe no shanga government
netekaho ebintu amashomo omu matendekero agarikubasa kuretera wamanya habwakisheme kundi hangari yawe nana abarikuba nibatungaho okutendeka okutari kumwe na kumwe abakubambaza kukora government ino bakubeta bageraho babatwara
because president akuchwire kirimi recently like last week King's College Budo bakageraho omukoro ogu twareba mbasindikayo abanyamahe bakuru bihanga that is how serious ku President Museveni arokutwara ikitweta patriotism kujago amwana rge aha grassroots arikumanya ihanga ryanje niki
ya ebyo tuisirent bireba kandi tutekateka nguna na murundo ogu nabasa kukigambaho ahubwo kuba nekintu kikuru munonga eky'abantu bamwe bizire nibakuratira ahubwo kuba president abire consistent ekintu omwebembezi kuru nakigambaho akaho emyaka 2-3 atakigarukiremu ekyoreka ngu abira
akana kigamba kujagwa kaine kuchigamba
konkati akujangu nakigumaho ntutekateka ngu naija kugenda mission okuchongera hamani tuliyo nitureba ebiri kugenda mesho harukololo kandi okurugirira embeero kweri okori kureba screen yawe noreba ngu ogwe ni ishabaramuzi speaker ni speaker wa parliament ayabasa kuba nahika kandi shamunana nedakika 2 nibwo bwiro buturumu kandi twaturaganisibwe ngu emikoro netandika shamunana abo noreba abakuru batari bamwe na bamwe
bari ni speaker wishenjero rihanga right honorable boss Maxon no muhwezi we right honorable Thomas Taibwa babasa kubane biko because abo warabikaho nchereka guno mwebembezi wihanga ari hihi pressure ngo kwara abakuru batandika kwija reka turebe enshongeza mani social transformation president wihanga aresere UPE USE yakoraho wealth creation emyoga parish development model tugamba ari ebyo minhwero turi kureba abantu kuba kwika kororo
yes Joshua nabara kutureba ntukimanya ngo president Museveni atwiro kugamba kwe na connecting no muntu wabutosha tari kugambira abashomere abahiguru abagiga nagamba ebigambo bye kubane bikira kimwa muntu waburijo nahabwe ekyo omukugezaho okoreka ngo speech ye ningo kugamba ko omuntu ogukumwimusi ahubwo kuba ebintu byihanga ningo bwiga bwariyo nububesingira abantu baburijo nahabwe ekentebe kansas government etireho nka parish development model emyoga ebizeminyeto ezabakyara zona nabazitira ha kujangu ninga government nesta kujangu abantu ababase kwimuka hati ntutekateka ngunaje kutuhereze kishani ahubwo kuba ekisanje kiwire turebere esentezi almost burumuruka bukazitungaho
kandi yagaraka yazukuratera tukareba rukora drive ihanga ryona kureba sentence dekam yes konkanzi kamuntu wahansi
yes actually abamwe bakakriticinga bakujangu nabasa atakukoze sente nyingi ku rwom state house kuza kureba okuwo muntu akozise miliyoni emwe ahayabagirire nguwe naronde ntama eyabuzire nasiga 9 aza kuronde yabuzire so ntutekateka ngu aha nshongeje eyibye nkurakurana natekwa garuka gambe kandi president Museveni atwira lyo muntu webyentasi no muntu we economics na kushobororera kutandikira ha muntu wenyine or kutandikirwaho okusya ahankurakurana yihanga lyo na GDP entasya eyatame hwire 2021 Uganda tire rutambwe ki arikugerageranisana no kwiganda yagishangire koko wagamba okurwa mwaka gwe 2022 9 so na hati ntutekateka ngo naija kuba nayongera okutushigire kishani omutameje iturukana
aha shongeje yenyine pressure ijo ahari kutorana ba speaker bishengero eriri 12 akayongera yakinogereza yagera ati imwe ba minister nengashi abanyishengero soronga zino subscribing ar NRM wakateka guno kwija kamparo shitame ninza kubingira abantu kujagwiye jaho yigigahaze then abantu abo kwebembera bagume bari aboro ebe byona akabasa kuba na barabura ebyo nebishani hebir kuruga kororo eshaha yona omwebembezi wihanga na isha kuba natahamu then tubase kuba tukumurukira byona kuba kujana pressure watukora kurungi watushobora ahanshonga ya social transformation okwabasize kuba natekaho ebintu ebyo. President Museveni akongera yatujya kurga omwaka gwo kumurwenda canana mkaga hiya kwatiro bwebembezaho mu ihanga Uganda ekene population y'abantu 14 konkati we are close to 50 million.
Yes.
Ahayo ngira kagira ati literacy rate ebasize ningasha abantu kugira gu abwa UCE UPE abantu kwetegereza kwabo kweyongire no bucweka anana bushatu kurigera ari anana bushatu kwaza ahari 80% kugira ngo mu Uganda nawe itiziro yakushanga family tari mu degree bwanyuma yo kuintroducinga encourage no guarantee abanya Uganda okushanga betegerizo mu kushoma ino kuchukureta henkurakuranisa omuyihanga.
Yes, okushoma n'enshonga nkuru ahabwo kuba nubwo musingi gwi kora abamwe behangira emirimo yabo entasiya yabo neba neretera government kutunga revenue ninga shemshoro ekiri kubasa kuretera abantu bakurakuranisa ihanga ryaba speed kuba wareba Joshi amahanga gina abantu bingi nigatukira kuba amagege
pressure mwebembezi w'ihanga His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni sakuba na yagaranjura shayo kororo eshaha yona naija kuba na tsiyoro bazaro reka crossing tuze kororo turebe cracked parliament ogweno nawe ariya team ya cracked parliament ebya kutugambira
011 of the Constitution. So the motorcade of His Excellency the President is now making its way to the reception point, and the guard has formed and is waiting for His Excellency to walk through the street guard with fanfare. So we shall just allow you to enjoy that moment. So that was the fanfare by the Uganda Police Band. Now His Excellency the President is going through the street guard to the point where he will be received by the receiving party led by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, the Deputy Speaker, the Clerk to Parliament and senior officials from the Parliament of Uganda. Could we receive His Excellency the President? So His Excellency will now be ushered to his tent, to his sitting area. And that is the point where he normally will sign the Visitors Book of Parliament. We shall also see the procession of the Speaker forming, led by the Sergeant at Arms, carrying the ceremonial mace. I'm sure many of you will remember that the mace was handed over to the Speaker. This is a symbol of the authority of Parliament, the authority of the Speaker of Parliament. So His Excellency is appending his signature to the Visitors Book as a show that he is physically present here in Kololo when we have, once again, the three arms of government coming together. So shortly, the procession of the Speaker will be formed, led, of course, by the Sergeant at Arms carrying the mace of Parliament. And then we shall go into the formal agenda for the day, which is the order paper. We shall ask that you all remain standing until we have heard the playing of the anthems, the national anthem, followed by the East African anthem, and then prayers. And thereafter, once you have taken your seats, we shall have a proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker declaring these grounds as Parliament for purposes of our meeting today, and making it legal for Parliament to receive an address by His Excellency the President on the state of the nation, as is stated in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Article 1011, that mandates His Excellency the President to address Parliament every year. So the procession of the Speaker will now form, and we shall communicate to you once Parliament has ended. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, His Excellency the President and Mr. Speaker.
The anthems.
Almighty God, who in your infinity wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you've been priest called to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner, so as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you've committed to their charge. Amen.
Proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament.
Whereas under Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda is mandated at the beginning of each session of Parliament to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation, aware that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda has, in accordance with Article 1011, indicated to the Speaker of Parliament his intention to address Parliament on the state of the nation on Thursday, 4th June 2026. Now, therefore, in accordance with Rule 18.1 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I hereby proclaim, 1, that Parliament shall sit at Kololo ceremonial grounds on Thursday, 4th June 2026 at 1400 hours to receive the address of His Excellency, the President, on the state of the nation, and 2, the Kololo ceremonial grounds to be the precincts of Parliament for the above-mentioned purpose, given under my hand at Parliament House, Kampala, this first day of June 2026.
Communication from the Chair.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Her Excellency, the Vice President, Major Retired Alupo Jessica Ipel, His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, Dr. Flavian Seja, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of Government Business in Parliament, Robin Nabanja, the Right Honorable Leader of the Opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, Cabinet Ministers and Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament of Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to this official state opening of the first session of the 12th Parliament of Uganda, during which we will receive the President's address on the state of the nation. Honorable members, the State of the Nation address is a key constitutional address pursuant to Article 1011 of the 1995 Constitution, delivered by His Excellency the President to Parliament to outline the government's achievements over the past financial year, address pressing national challenges, and lay out government's legislative agenda for the upcoming session of Parliament. I take this momentous occasion to formally congratulate His Excellency the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, upon retaining yet another mandate of the people of Uganda. In the same vein, I congratulate all of you members of the 12th Parliament upon your election. I implore you to bear in mind that an election victory is only the foundation of leadership. What follows is the hefty responsibility of governance, fulfilling campaign promises and ensuring social cohesion. Your Excellency, on behalf of the 12th Parliament and on my own behalf, we affirm our solid commitment to the realization of the government's tenfold growth strategy, our national economic blueprint designed to expand the country's GDP from roughly $50 billion to $500 billion by 2040. Honorable members, the State of the Nation address, which we eagerly await this afternoon, is particularly historic. It will be the first of 5 annual addresses of its kind by His Excellency the President. That will mark the start of each of the 5 sessions of the tenure of this Parliament. Your Excellency and honorable members, you will note that the physical attendance of this annual occasion has been restricted to only the members of Parliament, as a precautionary measure in response to the prevailing threat of the Ebola disease. Parliament recognizes and appreciates government's swift response in ensuring public health and safety whenever such situation arises. And I want to thank you for your kind attention.
Invitation by the Right Honourable Speaker to His Excellency the President to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation.
Your Excellency the President, Article 1011 of the 1995 Constitution grants you the mandate to deliver to Parliament and to the nation at the beginning of each session of Parliament your address on the state of the nation. The House is greatly honored by your presence this afternoon. Honorable members, as we welcome His Excellency the President, I draw your attention to and urge you to abide by Rule 10 of the Rules of Procedure, which provides in Sub-Rule 4A that the President, while occupying the chair of state, may make a presidential statement which shall be heard in silence and not followed by any comment or question. I now take my maiden and singular honor and privilege to invite you, Your Excellency, to address the nation. Your Excellency, you are most welcome.
Her Excellency the Vice President of Uganda, Her Excellency the Vice President of Uganda, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, and all the other leaders and fellow Ugandans. I'm again very happy to address you on this occasion of the State of the Nation Address for the year 2026. First of all, I thank and congratulate all the Ugandans for having participated in the series of elections ever since the 15th of January 2026. And for massively supporting the NRM. Thank you so much, Ugandans. Above all, I thank God for all these victories and for the peace in the country in spite of so many evil people that have been plotting to disturb the peace. During the presidential address, during the presidential inauguration, I put forward a call of no more sleep. Some people are already distorting it as just no sleep. It is not just no sleep, it is no more sleep. And to clarify the message, I should add no more corruption, obscurzy, no more Kongora, leaning on your hole when others are digging. That's called Kongora in our language. No more kugumaza, kuzya, diverting somebody's attention from the real target to a wrong target. No more to hinder, overburden us when we work and you are just sitting down. And no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for their own ego and personal interests. This is the Xanja, no sleep. The story of the NRM and Uganda starts in the early 1960s. Personally, I started waking up our people in 1959 when I visited Mbara Stock Farm as a junior secondary 1 pupil at Mbara High School. Having come from the Ntungamo area that was democratically outside the money economy, and everybody was on Okoro Ichida Chonka, working only for the stomach, subsistence. Combined with the school education, when we came to know about the enclosure movement in the UK, Oksiba Sengenge for agriculture, the Industrial Revolution in Europe, etc., by 1965, the sectarian politics of the political groups notwithstanding, our ideas about the socio-economic transformation had coalesced. It was clear that the small enclave economy of the British, of the 3 C's and 3 T's, was a disaster for the majority of the people. You want proof? Just look at the infant mortality rate in 1962 and the average life expectancy in 1962. There were 128 per 1,000 live births, and life expectancy was 46.8 for everybody on the average. We soon grasped the importance of having vertically integrated and horizontally integrated national economies. In the 20 years of chaos between 1966 and 1986, our views were eventually crystallized into the 10 points program of Kanyara. Kanyara was where we wrote this document in 1984. Point number 5 of those 10 points run as follows, in quotes: building an independent, integrated, self-sustaining national economy. However, for the people to participate in the vertical and horizontal integration of the economy of the country, they had to join the money economy first and move out of the traditional pre-capitalist economy of working for a chida chonka, working only for the stomach, just subsistence. Since my nomadic family, because my family was nomadic, since my nomadic family had migrated from Ntungamo to Nyabushozi, it was the good luck of Nyabushozi that we started our activities there. These activities involved sensitizing the population of the cattle corridor to stop nomadism, make enclosures around their land, Sengenge, engage in commercial agriculture with the Chibaro, Chura, Aymar, cultivation for profit and maximum returns. You can see in the videos, let them show us some of the families we started with if they are there on the videos, their testimony.
amazina gange Estamagaga witu nahan baheta Gwengwe Nshwerenki hampa tukejeho gwankaga n'etaano hampa eryensi konka bakandi bagyeta empango keri empango nese etaine ebihingi etaine kery'embura ry'ekishaka twatahomu kutwabere turi omuntu turisa turi nkoku tukaturi nk'abakaramoja mbwenu President aije omu ariho nkuseniya ya mukaaga yatayayo mu maka gaitu tukugira ngu akataragira ngu naragira akari omwana w'ishomero tukantu omukiza n'emyaka namwe nanyi ninje mukiza obundi aha ninje mukiza tukantu omukiza emyaka akatushomesa ari omwana yatushomesa okutuura okuhinga okwombeka amaju gatakugira ngu n'amabaati agagutwayombekere bwanyuma g'ebihome okuba batuuza omunsi okurera kuzengerera okurera kutasha kutwabanda nambwenu nkaitwe nkanya nkenjo yange ekeha kyekutasya kanyabihara konka yatutanga yatwegesa ebintu birungi yatwegesa okushitama yatwegesa okutuura yatwegesa twaba abantu mbwenu kuko abantu babaire abari kumanya bukuru ko babaire bari itwe tukatari nk'abakaramoja kandi nakigamba matukatari nk'abakaramoja hakabakaramoja bakabaturana bafuruka nambwenu nabo mpurira ngo abegesa abandi akabareta mpani mpurira nabo nubagambe bya ururimi rw'abantu nuwe atikiza no kuturkushoku no kutuyimukona nuwe ataine kakwate nango no kuba umuntu nakwenti kandi tumukize emyaka itwe kandi tumukize emyaka hari hati nangu nimukira n'ubundi yampa hati kuyahereze kutwegesa ebintu ebyo kutwayega kutwayombeka amaju g'ebihome kutwaba abatuuze kutwarera kufuruka kutwahinga yagira omukishaka yayongeraho ekyakabiri yayongeraho twatunga enjungu yayongeraho obwenge bw'okugemura
ntukama ritabishatu buri izooba aritemwe negura shilingi rwenda kubazamu buri izooba n'emitwaro 28 kubazamu mu kwezi nizo miliyoni 8 n'esente zikushagamu
yayongeraho twayombeka amaka marungi nambwe n'ekyanga kitu ekyo n'ekindi kuheraho ahakanisa yitu erigarukira hindugarukira n'ahandi ahindi arabira obumbaire nyina amaani omutarumbana icyanga kitu no kurugaha kwikarisha iri kukahindugarukira tarubana ku ngo abana kuntu bateze impicengaro tubariho nutimba rero kandi kangenda ebyo byona nuyabigisa ihanga iri turumwe iri turukuzanda mwiri haje amasomo nkanye kutere somo n'emyaka yanjye.
So there you have the testimony of some of the families we started with in 1966, end of year. That old lady was speaking in Nyankore, and she said that when we came to teach them in 1966, we were students having finished A-level, and we told them to stop. She was saying that they were like the Karamojong at Katu and Kabakoromuishu, nomadic. And if you read our booklets, if you are polite, if you if you can make yourself a bit humble to learn from smaller people like us, then you will see how we argued with those traditional people to stop from nomadism, stop nomadism, and have settled agriculture, grow crops, and so on. Now, she was saying that because of the insecurity, we had to go away to fight. But when we came back, 1986, we added the issue of going now, not only just being settled, but being settled and also doing commercial agriculture with the Chivaro. That's why we advise them to go into dairy farming, because dairy farming was more for smallholders and medium people. It was better than beef ranching. Beef ranching needs more land. Now, that model, which started in the Nyabushozi area, has spread to the whole cattle corridor south of the Nile. There's a man called Matongo in the Ngoma area. Let's see what he says.
Amazina ninje George Matongo wa Ngoma Mungongo guntu hano gwatakashozi nandi kutaha umurimo gwanje ndi muri isa nteze mujya kureba nuko itandikira tatakanda gento bakubya talobo hagwakidana meirisa zakanya nagura amataka nyuse nazo zankorera ibintu kwenda zashubitiza abana bihereze natuzuru kabanza mu nyankore naje nahindura nk'umwata ngo njungu nuko zahanyiranye natunga batuzungwe zo ndisumute.
On our farm, we collect over 900 liters of milk per day, and a liter costs 800 shillings, which is approximately 21 million per month.
So now this is now another side of the cattle corridor, Ngoma, Nagaseke district. But the cattle corridor is continuous from the border with Tanzania in Isingiro all the way up to northern Uganda. But much of the work we have done so far was in the south of the Nile, from River Kagera up to Chiriandongo. They have all changed. Now that man is in Goma area. The infrastructure is not so good, but you can see they are having a lot of money. That particular one is selling 900 liters of milk per day. The price is low, it's not high, but they still get 21 million shillings a month. You can see that girl there, she's educated because of the money which the parents have to pay for her in the schools. And they have moved from the other small houses which the old lady was showing you to now permanent buildings to live a better life. Now, that is the testimony from the cattle corridor. That's why this time really I am no longer interested in non-performers. Between 1986 and 1989, we campaigned for prioritizing the enterprise of dairy farming for the small and medium farmers, while the big players could continue with the ranching for beef. By 1995, the cattle corridor had started changing. People getting income per month from the milk, building better houses, paying school fees for children in paying schools. Indeed, our late Magaga is the husband of the other lady whom you saw, and father of Lieutenant General Kavuma. Is Kavuma here? Is he here? He's a big general now. Oh, you can see how big he is. There he is. Now, their family together, the wife, the one you saw, and the husband who died. Indeed, our late comrade Magaga, the father of Kavuma, came to me and told me that he did not know what to do with the money. When they started getting money from the milk, he couldn't believe it. He came to me. I said, you are people really, once you say you are a leader, you are putting a problem on yourself. If you don't become a real leader, God will not like you. I can assure you of this. Either you lead or you stay in your home. Don't try to be a leader when you are not, when you don't care about the people. So Magaga came and said, a citizen should be recognized. Because the milk people are paid every 15 days. They are paid. And this had never happened in Magaga's life. She had never seen it. That a villager is being paid every 15 days, being paid money. Being paid every 15 days. Nka o mshahara. That's what he told me. As if I am working in a government office and being paid a salary. That was the tragedy of Uganda at that time. Only the civil colonial servants could get regular income. This change in the cattle corridor by the traditional families of Abata Soma, because these people had never gone to school. Magaga had never gone to school. His wife had never gone to school. To change Abata Soma, the ones who never went to school, was engineered by us, was against the advice of the professionals. Professionals did not believe we could change these people. They would tell me, you are wasting your time. Those Banyankore cannot change. They were all saying to a man that the Banyankore could not change from their pre-capitalist lifestyle to a money economy. Moreover, when we were doing this, nobody among the colonial elite would agree to support us. It is only Mzee Byanyima who gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugwa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used, the only person who helped us gave us 20 shillings. That's about $3. $3. Just short of $3. Because a dollar that time was 7 shillings, a dollar. So $3 would be 21 shillings. So when we went to say we are going to mobilize the Banyankore to stop nomadism, other people refused to help us. Mzee gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugwa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used 7 shillings per person to use Mongonya's bus from Baraturshere through Ruhumba. That was 14 shillings. So out of our 20, we used 14 to come from Baraturshere. 2 of us, each one 7 shillings. Mwesugwa was a smoker. So he took away shillings 120 to buy a packet of Sportsman. That left us with 4 shillings 80 cents. After holding public meetings at each using shillings, 1 shilling and 20 cents. That is 2 shillings and 40 cents. In the Katongole area, we started moving on foot up to near Nama, where we spent the night leaning against the harvested millet. When we spent one of the nights, we spent it leaning against the millet of one of the peasants called Chankuru. Millet is very comfortable when it is not threshed when it is in the shifts. After addressing a public meeting at Nama, the group gave us bicycle rides to Mzee Bitasene's place near Wamasha Dam. Moving on foot, we addressed meetings, including a mega one at where there is Karo Secondary School now. You should have seen the grandfathers and other adults listening to these young people. I was just 22 years old that time, and Musugo was just slightly older than me. Thereafter, we moved on foot out of Mzee Tanyoka's home that we had made our camp and spent the night at Rushere with Mzee Mhinga. Thereafter, our remaining 2 shillings and 40 cents could only take us up to Nyakasharara. And from there, we walked on foot all the way to Mbarara, spending the night at Maikurar in Akairungu near Biharu and Mbarara area. It was now 1967, January, and it was time to take up our temporary teaching jobs and get our own money to easily support our voluntary struggle for our people. Therefore, when I hear leaders talking of allowances to reach their people and get them out of poverty, I almost get nausea. I feel like vomiting. If you don't know, when I look at you, the way you do things, I really feel very, not pleased, but out of politeness, I've been keeping quiet. But now I'm telling you. Even those who get government allowances do not go to the field. I hear that many just stay in Kampala. Another mistake is for leaders to give personal money to constituents. As you can see here, we had no money to give to anybody. The only money we had, even when we started getting our own salaries, was for bus transport. Most of the time, I would ride the bicycle from Kazo to Burunga, from Burunga to Wakitura and back. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. So now you hear a problem. Murka Chief needs a motorcycle. Motorcycle for what? Let the Murka Chief ride a bicycle. I'm really sick and tired of that parasitism. And that's why I told you that this is Iksanja, no more sleep. Because I've been polite, talking, thinking that people will learn by example. No. This is the time to talk straight to everybody. Why should the Muruka Chief have a motorcycle, fuel, money? Let him use a bicycle. It is better for him. He will live longer if he rides a bicycle. Even a Gombara chief, the Gombara is not so big. Why should we have fuel, all of that? Work can't be done because there is no money for fuel. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. We would share food and accommodation with our hosts, the population. God has kept me here, and I am now 82 years old, almost, not exactly, but almost. In spite of the efforts we expended in the resistance, the most important contribution to the people of the Cattle Corridor was the diagnosis of their problems and the prescriptions we offered. Because these people had no money to give them. The only thing we gave them was a correct analysis, diagnosis, and a prescription. They were enough to arouse their enthusiasm and expectations. That was the reason they massively joined the young party we formed in 1980, known as UPM, after the parties were again allowed to exist. No money given to them, but accurate analysis and prescription that was a projected solution. And also reaching them. You can imagine a 22-year-old children calling adults, grandfathers, and they come to these meetings. By 1986, the production of milk in Uganda was 200 million liters per annum. It is now 5.4 billion liters, saving US dollars 1.56 billion of imports and earning US dollars 285 million in export earnings. So this work we did not only help these cattle raising families, but saved Uganda the import bill of $1.56 billion. If we were importing all this milk, Uganda would be spending $1.56 billion. Additionally, Uganda is earning now $285 million in export earnings. Uganda used to import tinned condensed milk from as far away as New Zealand, packed pepper milk from Kenya, butter, cheese, yogurt, powdered milk, etc. from Denmark, etc. Uganda now is a big exporter of all those products. That is our work. The people in the cattle corridor need to deepen their work by going away from Oksetura, free range, to growing pasture and indoor feeding of cattle, goats, and sheep. The only people who indirectly helped us in this were the late King Gasyonga and some community leaders like Eliazari Bitembe, who had mobilized the Banyankore to come back from where they had been dispersed by the spread of the tsetse flies following the invasion of tsetse flies from Karagwe, Tanzania in 1918 and after. To be saluted in particular is President Eisenhower of the United States, who deployed USAID to spray against the tsetse flies in 1958 using a chemical known as diedrine. When President Clinton visited us in March 1998, I wanted him to visit the cattle corridor and see the outcomes of the good the USAID had done. However, his people preferred to take him to Mukono to see pancakes. So I wanted him to go and see this work, but his people said, no, you go to Mukono and see pancakes. So they went to see pancakes. Even me, I went with them. Ever since the coming into power of the NRM, we have eradicated the tsetse flies in Ichiboga, Ngoma, Busoga, Lango, etc. With the shift from Kusetura, free range, to indoor feeding of the dairy and beef cattle, and stopping the primitive practice of property fragmentation after the death of the head of the family, Uganda will overtake countries like the Netherlands, Australia, Argentina in production levels of dairy products, beef, leather, etc. After this success, I started inviting delegations of leaders from other parts of Uganda to visit and learn. This is where the question of no more sleep, no more kukongora, no more kugumaza, no more kuhenda, no more politeness to non-performers comes in. Because I would invite leaders, come please and see. This area was like this. We have now moved it, it's moving like this. And they would visit. My expectation was that they would go and try to do the same in all our areas in Uganda. The county of Nyabushozi each day delivers to the factories and milk coolers 1.15 million liters of milk per day. That's county alone. There are 115 milk coolers in Nyabushozi alone, mainly private. And there are now 160 milk and milk products factories in the whole of Uganda. Having succeeded in the Nyabushozi-Kazo area, and having been inviting delegations after delegations in 1995, I made a countrywide tour on exactly this point. I studied the whole country, and I recommended the two modes of agriculture. intensive agriculture for people with small pieces of land, and extensive agriculture for people with big pieces of land. In the 1996 manifesto, we reduced it into the 4 acres model with 7 activities for intensive farming and for other products for the plantations and the big farmers with big pieces of land. With 4 acres or less, you could engage in zero grazing for 1 acre of pasture with 8 Frisian cattle, 1 acre of coffee, 1 acre of fruits, 1 acre of food for the family, poultry for eggs and piggery in the backyard, and fish farming near the wetlands. With large farming, there was more flexibility. You could undertake any or all of these 7 that were high-income earners, even when you do them on a small scale, and you could also take on the low returns activities, but on a large scale, because the country also needs them. These are products like tea, cotton, sugarcane, cattle ranching, etc. The logical question was, how do we, the cashless people of Abakorere Chidachonka, start? That was the question. Once I started talking about this after the 1996 elections, the question was, where is the capital to start? Immediately, 1997, we put in Tandukwa money at the sub-county to work as a revolving fund. I remember checking in Rubaga division here in Kampala, there was a DP chairperson known as Sendi Kadiwa at that time in that area. That money was already there. And I was challenging Sendi Kadiwa how to use that money to give low-interest capital to our people. Since that time, we have never relented. NADS, in the year 2001, Operation Wealth Creation 2013, PDM starting with the year 2022, Emyoga in the year 2020, etc. Many families have listened and benefited. In my country tours, I found a man called Mudebo in Sironko. Let's see Mudebo.
Meno gase bananga James Mudebo ifamu ino iri imazachi natandika minu mojangero ino balugendo lwanje ngindina makwekwe natandika ngende kubaya kafu yange yenyowa ejinto nejiba yange jirange tsara ye kabi na jirange babura natandika na kolera che kubonerako imbale ngengona mu housing estate mwaka 1918 neza emazachi hano nagula liswa nazagala anganongera paka nafuna bubalayi wezi eka zibiri ni kakatu ne butikitiki budatu zikafu hano kusawe eno ndiwoni zikafu zine zesi ekama mabere zikafu zine zino zindetera mabere lita enkaga naza mumoni nga yosenga bilako batu zinano zikafu nga nakuwere kafu ikulu ngayi ikafu yikola chino wenga inyowa iba yose munsi ye kabiri aba yo mwayi nazecho che kubonerako nagabirako Mr. Odeje idayi bumarudye nga bayisa batu era sawayi ongobo serese nano ikafu inanu nese mugongo gutamagose sese opakwe nano inanu imosi.
Now what Mudebo is saying in Rumasabo, which you people don't understand, is saying that he was living in the town in Namakwekwe trading suburb of Mbare. But when this program came, this one was of, I think this was NADS, one of the first ones. He got a cow from NADS and was keeping it in Namakwekwe. But eventually he got money and bought, I think, two acres in Sironko. He moved from Namakwekwe, now he went back to Sironko, bought land. Zikaf, what he was saying, the cows, I think now they are giving you like 60 liters. Is my Rugisu correct? Was it 60 liters or something like that? Enkaga. Now, with the milk, not only the milk, but also the cow dung, he went into coffee growing. We don't have time to listen to the whole story, the Chibaro, but he's doing very well. This is Mudiebo, who started with NADS long ago. Then now you go to there's somebody called Cherimo or Buko. Let's say Cherimo Buko.
Welcome to this village. Is called Ngeny Village, Kapkoro Sub-County, Buko District. I am a farmer. I'm doing dairy. As you can see, I have 3 cows now, but 2 are producing milk. 1 is still growing. I also have coffee, 1,200 trees. I have bananas on 1 acre. I also have fruits, apples specifically. And then I have horticulture. I am growing vegetables. And then I have chicken, the local breed, but I have 100 so far under a poultry unit, which we are producing for milk, for eggs, and also for sale. We really thank government because when I started this farm, I started doing this farming activity in 2004. I did it using my own resources, but in 2018, government under Operation Whereas Creation, they gave us a cow, and now this cow so far it has sired 3. These ones are 3 here because of the congestion here. I've taken them to another annexed farm which I bought. These cows here, it has assisted me so much as a farmer because we are getting milk. As you can see, this one here, this one is Asha. It has produced milk for over 1 year plus. So the milk production has gone down. But so far, we are getting 10 liters a day from this other cow. Then this one is a crossbreed, a local and a crossbreed. We are getting, this one gives us 8 liters. So in total, these cows give us 18 liters per day. These 18 liters, when you calculate it with the current market price of 1,800, we get like 900,000 every month from these 2 cows. So next year, all of them are they are pregnant. We expect them to produce in January. So when we get now peak production, our milk is going to increase. But so far, these other 2 cows is assisting us in payment of fees, maintaining the home. We are also getting the bananas, which we sell on weekly basis. At least we get like 250,000. In a month, we get like about 1 million from the bananas. Then the coffee is also doing very well. So far, this year, we have already picked 5 bags of dry parchment. And that 5 bags, when you calculate it to the price of 10,000, that is already 5 million. The coffee is doing very well because of this mixed farming ingredient. We get the cow dung, we get the bioauxiliary, and that is what is, you can see the bananas are very healthy, and also the coffee is doing very well. So that is what we are getting.
That is the testimony of Cherimo. I didn't get time to calculate the whole Chibaro, the whole calculation, the milk, the 900,000 per month. That would be like 10 million a year. Then you have the bananas, 200,000 per. Then you have the coffee. But he started benefiting from Operation Wealth Creation. Let's see now Kaziwe of Jinja.
Amanya gange nze Kaziwe Mike, tuli Namazala LC1, Musedese of County, Jinja District. Wano we tuli Kaziwe Family Mixed Farm n'emitwalo 5. Ente eyo etuzaalidde abaana kati mu kiraalo wano saawa kino wenjogerera waliwo ente 11. Naye abaana ente eyo beezadde n'abazzukulu bonna bazze batuzaalira. Kale tuzze nga tutunda ku nte ezo okukendeeza ku carrying capacity nga bwe tuli. Ku faamu kuno tulinako ente ezikamwa, ku ssaawa eno tukamya ente 5 nga tufunamu amata agawera lita 8. Buli lita tugitunda shilingi 1200, lunaku ne tufuna emitwalo 9 mu 6. Omwezi ogumu tufuna miliyoni zaffe 2 emitwalo 88. Kaakati bwe tujjako ez'abakozi ne tujjako ezidukanya faamu n'ebirala ogenda okumaliriza nga tusigazizaawo miliyoni 1.5. Ezo ne zikola emirimu emirala mu maka. Mu nte muno era tujjamu biogas. Biogas tumukozesa mu kufumba.
Ne woba okoyo oba ova mu nnimiro towererwa tomenyeka osazaawo wano gaasi n'ofumba ne bitereera. Era kyatutaasa nnyo tetukyamenyeka nanku.
Kino kyenkutte mu ngalo ye sabbuuni waffe gwe tukola okuva mu busa obw'ente. Sabbuuni ono tumukola mu biosilary abaavudde mu biogas digester nga gaasi amaze okuvaamu. Sabbuuni ono tumupakinga mu lita 1 ne mu lita 5. Lita 1 tugitunda 3,000. Nga currently omwezi production yaffe ya lita 7. Era nga buli lita tugitunda 3,000. Bw'obalabalamu omwezi tuyingiza emitwalo 21 okuva mu sabbuuni waffe ono. Ng'oggyeko bye tukozesa n'ebirala packaging materials ng'obudomola buno ne bu stickers buno tuteekako obwa labeling, tukkakkana nga tulinawo emitwalo gyaffe 18 ezitaliiko musolo okuva mu sabbuuni buli mwezi.
Ennimiro eno tugiyita COVID garden. Bwe twali mu lockdown nga buli muntu ali waka, eno yali ssamba ya bikajjo. Ne tusalawo ne tugamba ebikajjo tubigyewo tuzimbewo koko. Olwondo nga maze okugendako ewa mukwano gwange, maze n'okuwulira pulezidenti bw'asomesa 4 acre model. Wano tulinawo ebikolo bya koko 1,800. Buli eka twagiteekamu ebikolo 450. Kati nga tetunnaba kutandika kulya koko, twali amatooke. Kuba buli kikolo kya koko bw'okiraba kwaliko ekitooke. Muzeeyi agamba 4 acre model tuli ku principle ye kituufu. Naye ffe tubala bikolo. Tubala nti ebikolo 450 biri kukola eka. Kati ffe tubala nti wano tulinawo eka emu ey'ebitooke.
Kaziwe near Jinja has cows selling 80 liters of milk a day, has coffee, has cocoa, has bananas, as you can see. I think he even had pigs, but we don't have time to see all that. Now, all these, some of them, he got them from Operation Wealth Creation when it was giving out some of the seedlings. Then there are other, my favorite from Abim, Karamoja. Let's see that one.
Ogira. I am a model farmer in Abim district. My village here is called Arangetoy West. Arangetoy Parish, Abuk Town Council, Abim district. In Karamoja. The mango trees you are seeing here were given to me by the President through Operation Wealth Creation. I received 200 mango seedlings, and I planted all, and they are all doing well. Apart from this venture, money from PDM last year, I got 880,000. And I used 800,000 for buying 10 goats. And the goats are there. They have multiplied. They are now 16. Part of the money of PDM I used for buying cassava stems. Through that money, I've managed to plant 2 acres of cassava. They are now doing well. The first acre I intend to harvest next year in January. And then for the mangoes you are seeing, I started harvesting last year in 2023. The first harvest, I got 6 million. That was in June. Then second harvest in November, I got another 6 million. So last year, from these mangoes, I got 12 million shillings. I've been selling to the people around. Actually, Soroti Fruit Factory has booked this mango. They want me to take these mangoes tomorrow, 2025, to the factory. Actually, I've been selling locally. I've been selling 1 at 500 shillings, 2 1,000. And people are buying. These mangoes are very good. The mangoes, trees we are seeing here, are giving me money, a lot of money. And I want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Kaguta Museveni, for coming up with the idea of Operation Wealth Creation in the country. This is money. I am not going to suffer. My children will not suffer because of this wealth. I call it wealth now. I always harvest. I don't harvest mango. I harvest money, not mangoes. So I want to thank our President so much. And next year, if all goes well, I expect to get 18 million first harvest. And then second harvest, I also expect to get 18 million.
So now there, you have another Magaga in Karamoja. Because you remember Magaga, the father of General Kavuma, told me that he did not know what to do with the money. Since he didn't enter, since in Shoveiri, every 15 days I get money. Now here you have got this man from Abim saying that I'm not going to suffer, my family will not suffer, bye-bye to poverty. He's here speaking in English, and he speaks very clear English. That's why I like that video. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. Because the question was, once we started preaching, stop working for the stomach only, work for the stomach and the pocket. Some of the communities, in the cattle corridor, they didn't ask for capital. They moved without capital. They used their own capital. The only thing we gave them was advice. But in the other areas, they didn't have the indigenous, because for them they had indigenous cows, they converted them and they got capital, many of them. But in other areas, it was not so easy. So that's why we started with the Entandikwa and NADS and Operation Wealth Creation and now PDM. But this is for the smaller people. The question is now, how about the big farmers and the manufacturers? Yes, we have not forgotten those. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. The interest rate for that money is 12% per annum. The interest rate for PDM is 6% per annum and payable after 2 years. Hence, for shillings 1 million, the borrower will return shillings 1.2 million for PDM. We are always creating other funds for the ghettos, for the musicians, etc. So capital is not a problem. Unlike the colonial agents who never want to plan for Africa, we have told Ugandans that our economy has got potential in 4 sectors. Services, commercial agriculture, manufacturing, and ICT. The president is here. Parliament is here. Once people have woken up from sleep and they want low-cost capital, if the shillings 100 million per parish per annum or any other fund is not enough, we can increase the money by adjusting from other areas. With the cattle corridor, we did not wait for low-interest capital. As already said, our only contribution to them was the word. In the cattle corridor, the work there was Okugamba, like the one with the Bible. In the beginning, there was the word. The word was God. There, we just used the word. In the other areas, we use the word and the capital is there. Small capital for small things, big capital for big things. The advice was to go from nomadism to sedentary agriculture, to go from Mukuru Chidachonka to working for the stomach and for the pocket, and do so with the Chibaro. Additionally, in the cattle corridor, I gave 20 milk coolers that had been brought by Danida. That was all. They converted their indigenous Ankole cattle into half-breeds, Ebiwa with Frisians, and they took off. However, wealth creation cannot take place if there is no peace, no law and order, and supportive infrastructure in the country. The UPDF always guarantees peace in the country. The police and judiciary must ensure law and order. The NRM has struggled to tarmac, so with infrastructure, our scorecard is clear and must not be allowed to be spoiled. The NRM has struggled to tarmac the core national roads from north at Oraba, Aru, Nimule, and Musingo in the north. These are all linked by tarmac roads. Then the tarmac roads continuous from the north through the Kampala area to Kachitumba, Katuna, Chanaka, and Bunagana in the south. The mistake has been by the Ministry of Works to allow these roads to deteriorate, and then we start to doing heavy work afterwards. The new ministers must ensure, I don't want to see what happened to some of the roads like the Fort Portal Road. But there's a story about that Fort Portal Road. There's a story of corruption in that road. I hope the new team will deal with that issue. We have tarmacked the road from east to west, from Busia, Ruahaha, Swam, Amudat, all the way to Mpondwe, Busunga, and Ishasha in the west. This does not include the tarmac roads linking to the water bodies that are also transport connections, such as Jinja. Because when you have the tarmac road up to Jinja, you go into the water, you cross by ferry to Mwanza, to Kisumu, wherever you want to go. Majanji, Port Bell, Butiaba, Kaisotonya, Bukakata, there are tarmac roads going up to these water bodies. We are revamping the meter gauge railway and building the standard gauge one. We are working with Kenya and Tanzania on the pipelines for the crude petroleum products and for the refined petroleum products. This will move cargo, heavy cargo, away from the roads to the railway and petroleum products from the roads to the pipeline. In the coming years, you will no longer see tankers on the road, petrol tankers. They should not be on the road. Petrol should go by pipe, should not be competing with cars. That leaves the roads for only passengers and light cargo. The Maram roads must be maintained always. Where is the 3 billion shillings per district, which we send? Cham. They just eat it. If it is not enough, why not bring up the matter? You, the members of parliament, if you think that the 3 billion per district is not enough, bring it up. And we cut money from somewhere and we make sure the roads are worked on. Instead of just keeping it quiet, and you find the Maram road from Rira to my village in Barregi. It was terrible. It was very bad. It had not been maintained for a long time. Therefore, the NRM has identified all the requirements for building a prosperous Uganda. The NRM has also provided for the means for individuals, families, or companies that want to be part of the socio-economic transformation story. As I've said before, our mission has been to ensure that the individuals, the families, or the companies that listen to our message are assisted to be wealth and jobs creators. Right from the beginning, we realized that the internal factors are crucial, but not enough to ensure the socio-economic transformation of Uganda. We need to answer the question, in quotes, if the individuals, families, or companies create wealth and produce products and services in 4 sectors of commercial agriculture, manufacturing, services, and ICT, is the internal market enough? Is the internal market enough of these African countries? Our answer was no. The internal market cannot be enough. Indeed, if the internal markets were enough, why would a country like China, with 1.3 billion people, or India, with 1.4 billion people, be looking for external markets? Hence, ever since the 1960s, we have been having a Pan-African agenda on top of the patriotic agenda within Uganda. The Pan-African agenda was aimed at the economic integration of the whole of Africa in a continental market and for the political integration within East Africa, leading to the political federation of East Africa. The economic integration would deal with the prosperity of the African people, while the political integration of the parts of Africa that are compatible would deal with the strategic security of Africa, especially defense on land, in the air, at sea, and in space. Therefore, for the wealth creators of Uganda, most of the factors are in place now. That is why we are now saying no more sleep, no more kongora, leaning on your hoe while others are working. No more kugumaza, diverting people's attention. No more corruption. And no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for ego and personal interests. We must ensure that Enjuku Unju house to house. Ought be ought in our Luo language. Ensure that Enjukunju, for the families with the land, they get into the money economy with the Chibaro. The ones without land, their solution is the myoga, skills. Indeed, we also need to know that with increasing population, it will be neither possible nor necessary for everybody to have land. That is why there are other sectors, manufacturing and artisanship, services, ICT, e.g. transport, entertainment, ICT, e.g. BPOs. In the developed countries, very few people own land. I saw in the Negative Monitor newspaper an article by an individual known as Gawaya Tegule, who is always writing mendaciously and maliciously, saying that Uganda has been wandering in the desert for 40 years, like the children of Israel. Those who are wandering in the desert are partly those who listen to those liars. If you listen to the liars, you will wander in the desert. It is true that many of the leaders do not amplify this message of how people can get out of poverty. However, those who do change their lives. I understand Gawaya comes from Bugwere area. Let him visit Mama Nabutono and her husband, Obuko Diseru Kasasera Ward, Kasasera Town Council. Let's see Mama Nabutono if you have her.
Amanina gange ninze Loda Benedict Bakulubanywa nga nzoera mu zone gye beeta Bukoda Paris bageta Kasasira Ward Kasasira Town Council Kibuku County Kibuku District tandikira ka project ka isuno mukyala wange Nautono Florence kakulisha embizi mu mwaka 1993 embizi kindwalishanga ginu eja bulijjo local breed tugirisire mpola nenge ndishera atini ya mulembe tugirisha isubi tugirisha ku muwogo na maolu program ya PDM ya izire akati ao tabaina aba advisor aba external field extension workers ngani omwamubola yalambulanga aka project gaisa kembizi atwangu magezi nte project eno mujongera magezi omaiseyo mufune kembizi eja mulembe
enafunire esente ja palisi modo mbanka na emtwale kenda munana nagise nagyongeiro omukapito yange nkaire embizi gide jaloko ningula embizi enzungu nintandika ogirabirira nigibyala omumbizi ejo eja byaire nintunda baana nikoba nti tinakomanu ningulamu esekoko jona ndikulisya esente gindi ninkozesa efizi okubaana.
You know, when they are speaking Rugwele, they speak Runyankore in their own way, but I can for everything. So they had some local pigs before, but when PDM came, they bought the modern ones. The Rugwele, they speak Runyankore, also mix it with the Nyarwanda. Kubyara is Nyarwanda or what? No, Nyarwanda is a bit different. So now they have pigs. They have also sekoko. I didn't know anything about sekoko myself. They're the ones who exposed me. So once the people get capital, they will do their own things, like Nabutono there. Uganda has gone through 5 phases of positive development. These are the recovery phase of bringing back some of the 3 C's and 3 T's of the colonial enclave economy and ending the informalization of the economy into Magendo, Chibanda, and Okusamala. That was smuggling, forex black market, and speculation, following the destruction of the economy by Idi Amin. Expanding the enclave economy, diversifying it. That is how the dairy sector changed the cattle corridor, and the cassava is changing in many parts of Uganda. These are totally new cash products. Very addition to some of the raw materials, e.g. gold, and the knowledge economy of the automobiles, vaccines, computers, etc. What is high-sounding sloganeering there? Because that's what the other gentleman was saying, that's just slogans. These are achievements on the ground. Let's go to nearby Mbari Industrial Park. Show us the industrial park. Mbari. How can you call that a slogan? Is that a slogan? That is sloganeering. I think now they were saying there were like more than 80 factories there, 12,000 workers in that area. These are achievements on the ground. Let Gawaya go to nearby Mbari Industrial Park. How can such a park be a desert where there is no water or peace or production? Yes, there are problems of the issues like drugs in health centers. That is why, another time I will talk more about this, the issue of service delivery. That is why the NRM introduced democracy from the very beginning by getting people to elect the committees of the resistance councils, especially in the Bukit area. FOBA, the group of who are saying they were following Obote, started killing those elected leaders until we crushed FOBA. Elect people who help in exposing those mistakes. You have the power. Another time I'll speak about that, because the parishes are in Uganda, and everywhere there is local leadership, especially at the sub-county. And they are councillors. Why should things go wrong when all those leaders are there? Of course, even the government was also responsible, because they are the GISOs in every sub-county. Why would things go wrong and the GISO doesn't know? And they did so. The facts of the matter are that with the limited waking up, where 67% of the homesteads as compared to 9%. Because in 1962, only 9% of the people were in the money economy. Only 9%. When I checked in 2013, only 32% were in the money economy. But as we speak now, 67% of the homesteads are in the money economy. And Uganda has graduated from the least developed countries to a lower middle income country. Our GDP rose from 3.9 billion in 1986 to now 69.3 billion by forex exchange method, and 197.1 billion by the PPP method. The GDP per capita has risen to US dollars 1,278, while the threshold for lower middle income status is $1,136. Household poverty has declined from 56% in 1992 to now 16.1%. Life expectancy was 43 years in 1986. It was 46 in 1992, but it had come down to 43 by 1986 because of the chaos which Amin created. It had come from 43. It is now 68 years. The infant mortality rate was 122 for 1,000 born alive. It is now 36 for 1,000 born alive. In other words, our economy has expanded more than 17 times in the last 40 years of recovery, expansion, diversification, value addition, entering the knowledge economy, and transformation. This year, the economy is projected to grow at 6.4%, and the next year, the GDP will grow by 10%, pushing the size of the economy to US$ 80 billion. All this is before the start of the flow of our commercial oil. In the last 15 years alone, the country has added 31 new products to the export basket. Uganda now exports manufactured goods, including pharmaceuticals, refined gold, steel, ICT products, ceramics, plastics, the dairy products already talked about. Uganda's exports have reached US$ 18 billion in the 12 months ending in March 2026. The 67% of the people that have listened to our messages and friends from outside that have invested here have turned our economy into a country of surpluses. Milk, 5.4 billion liters from 200 million liters in 1986. Fish, 727,000. Coffee, 9.3 million 60 kilogram bags from 2 million bags in 1986. 76,000 metric tons of cocoa. Cement, from about 5,000 tons to 7 million metric tons of cement. Maize, from 200,000 to 5 million metric tons. Bananas, from 6.6 million to 11 million metric tons. Cassava, from 3.5 million to 4.5 million metric tons. Sugar, from 150,000 to 700,000 metric tons. We are now set for further and faster growth and transformation. With electricity, we have moved from 60 megawatts in 1986 to now 2,098 megawatts. We are, however, aiming at 50,000 megawatts from hydro, solar, gas, wind, nuclear, and geothermal. Therefore, all the leaders must ensure that those programs are downloaded in their respective areas. In the next 5 years, all the households with land must get the low-interest capital in the form of PDM. You, the leaders, you must ensure this. You must go up to the parish levels. You may not visit every parish, but you call the parish chiefs at the constituency level and make sure they do their work. If they don't do their work, we shall sack all of them. There's already 557 million in the parish. I was saying 800 million in the other address, but there's now because when the PDM started, initially they sent less than 100 million per year. So they are now saying the money which is in the parish, including the one of payback, is 557 million in the parish. And it has reached 3.7 million households. We are going to put shillings 100 million plus 15 million for the leaders per annum per parish in the rural areas, and shillings 300 million plus 15 million for the leaders per ward in the towns. Uganda shillings 760 billion has gone for the Myoga, operating from the constituency level. Where is that money? How many and which Myoga associations are benefited from this money? There's one of the young people who was involved with the Myoga money. Fortunately, he was elected as a member of parliament for Kasanda area. Bisaso, is the Bisaso here? Where's the Bisaso? Oh, I'm not allowed to, because I'm not allowed to speak, to say anything, and the other people are not supposed to stand up or walk or what. Is the Bisaso here? Ah, that's how Bisaso looks like. He knows about Myoga, that man. Thank you. On account of peace, some traders have generated a lot of capital through imports. These are the ones that built arcades, real estate. There's a young lady called Nanteza that is always showcasing on UBC the different real estate developers. Can we see Nanteza? If you have captured her. She's always showing how rich people are. Let her speak also. Where is she? You have suppressed her. Those are all real estate built by your people. Where is Nantes? You suppressed her. I'm not Nantes or Nadako. Because I've been watching her show every Sunday. She's always showing. So, there's poverty in Uganda, but there's also wealth, because those are Ugandans. Those are Ugandans. A Ugandan returnee from abroad was recently trying to buy a flat in the Kampala area. And they were demanding US dollars 1.2 million. A Ugandan who has come from outside came back. You know, when people are outside, they think that Uganda is in poverty. So this Ugandan came back, was looking for a flat. And the flats were selling at $1.2 million. And as she was trying to mobilize the money, the resident Ugandans had bought all the flats. Only she came back, they said, sorry, all the flats are sold. She was amazed that me, the diaspora, I don't have money. These Ugandans with the stayees have a lot of money. She was amazed at how rich some of the Ugandans are. The middle class is coming up. The question is, what sort of middle class are we witnessing coming up? Are they the comprador bourgeoisie that are agents of foreign interests? Or importers, commission agents, etc.? Or are they the national bourgeoisie that build the capacity of the country through being big or small farmers, manufacturers, service providers, and ICT operators? Let us therefore move. No more sleep, no more Kongora, no more corruption, no more kugumaza, no more politeness towards non-performers. This one, it is actually, I have been polite enough. I don't Kuemura people. All the non-performers must leave leadership. Leadership is not for ego, but for people and country. In agriculture, it is possible to have pan-Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exos area, I have 9 villages with 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. Let me see my exposed areas, if you have got some.
Manya gange nzerule John ni musajja mulimi nundayo nimanyo kusinga nimanye mwanyi ni makasoli ebitooke natandise n'okulima ennyaanya naye njala kwebaza nnyo President Museveni kubanga yasanga tetumanyi kyakukola kusooka nga ettaka lyaffe lyerisinga obulungi wano mu district y'e Gomba naye ettaka lyonna nga mbizi za musiko muzisula. President bwe yatuweereza abatusomesa ne batuyigiriza engeri gy'osobola okulima emmere bwe twava mu mmere kati abasooka okulabuka ate kakati tuli basajja bagagga. So ekitiibwa kyonna kyonna kitiibwa President Museveni. Okusooka byonna President yampa ebitooke nalima yika 5 ebitooke ebyo nafuna nakuŋŋanya miliyoni 27 mu bitooke. Endala ezaweerera abaana ze nali sizibala naye buli nafunanga katugeze miliyoni emu nga nteekako emitwalo nga 3 oba 5 nesevinga miliyoni 27. Kakati mu season ewedde emwanyi zokka nga nzigyeko ze nateekamu kubanga nze ebiseera ebisinga sibala zentaddemu saagala kuzibala. Njagala bwe mmala ze njagala okukubuulira ge magoba nafuna miliyoni 15 nenyongerako season eyo ey'emmwanyi nenzimba ennyumba yali ya miliyoni 93 nenjizimba era naawe weeri nagulawo buguzi nagulawo miliyoni 9 waliwo yiikemu n'ekitundu nina abaana 6 bonna bali ku ssomero kati ekyo nakyo magoba nguzeeko ebibanja kubanga fe abalimi obudde bwonna olowooza mu kulima kati bukaseera wobeera ekifo kiba tekikumala kirala nengulamu mulo motoka nagigula miliyoni 48 ebirala nunzeeko ninayo obute butono ate ninayo n'obubuzi bwange neera nabwo buva mu mwanyi President zampadde. Naye tulina ebitusoomooza. Ekisooka emmwanyi zino zirina akawuka sobola okulagako nga bino kubanga abatuyigiriza abalimisa batugamba ti ogenda obinojjola kugeza nga kino kati okalaba kano kati amakungula gaakano gandibadde ngaagaakano.
When I first went to Kisozi in 1990, they were all democratically poor. They had no idea of money. I would go very early in the morning to see my cows, and by 9 they would be sitting in the trading centers on the verandas. Muli mutya banange tuli bulungi mukola ki tuli awo. They are just there. They are doing what? Tuli awo. Esente muzijjawa ate munange tuziraba. Money is not seen. Mpozo tuwa akasente. That's what they would do. They would ask me for money. So I really started fighting with those people. So please, generate your own money. Now I'm very glad that initially the homesteads were 1,300, I think. Now they are 2,448. They all are in the money economy. I don't want to be in a parish where there are homes where people are in poverty and they're just contented. I visited a parish in Rubirizi some years ago called Ndangaro. There are 2,500 homesteads. And they were all poor, no money. Very rich area, it's a volcanic area with very, very fertile soil, but the advice what to do. They said, we are all poor here, except one man called Kateva, who had 7 pigs. This is the one who was rich. Kateba. Shana Kateba no mugeiga. Nte inex, ainempulu mshanjo. Kana ishakadio mugeiga, muneshana wakadio mugeiga, na wakabo ainempulu mshanjo. This is terrible. And you find the leaders, the political leaders, even the church leaders. I started quarreling with the church leaders. I went to Chikoni, in Tungamo. This is what they call Amajesha. Amakungura, they bring it to God. I saw one woman bringing one egg. That he's bringing the one egg to God. After 1 year. Walking very, 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 very humble as if she's going to heaven that time. This is terrible. You cannot have people like this. Please, honorable members, allow me to show you that woman of Rubiris again. That God called what? To himself one. The one of Rubiris.
Amazina mbanyita Tumusime Deserata omutuze wa Rubirizi district ate yimirira ndi omuseri ya Kizurugo nisima president wa Uganda ayatwire PDM nyo kuranyine emyaka nkaga nina nkatene chinda tongera haka.
Now that's the statement I want you to capture, that she was 64 years that time, but she had never owned anything in her life. You imagine that. What sort of society? And she has got children. Then how would the family be? Eh? I showed you the other time Apio. Let's see Apio again. Obrira.
Aburi wan tin man ma alingiri sel ti Banya ward ti my town council ti Lira district.
Her name is Apio Vicky, a resident of Alingiri Cell, Banya ward, Amach Town Council in Lira district.
Agamu chene me PDM yari ariapirwa adek.
She got the money for PDM in 2023.
La bong when tutumia pira beru and
970,000 and then 30,000 remained in the bank.
Atabino puru karachel ke nyuagi.
She planted maize.
Awelo nyuagi sacket apara beach.
She bought maize 15 sackets.
Well met tutumia pira dek we are
30,000 each sacket.
Ate kela te puru por mergena deku dushu puru eka sadek.
She used it, actually she planted it in the 3 acres of land. Preparing the garden cost her 150 for the 3 acres. Weeding cost her 50,000. Then spraying cost her 40,000. Time for harvest came.
To cut the story of Apio, she had been married for 20 years. And she has got other children, like 18 and so on, teenagers. But she had never handled 1 million shillings in her life. She did not have land. When she got land, when she got the 1 million shillings, She didn't have her own land. She had to go and hire 3 acres from somebody else, grow maize, sell the maize, put some of the money back into agriculture, and then buy those sheep, the ones you saw. When I was there in the campaign, she told me she had now 60 sheep. Then me, I didn't know about sheep. So who buys sheep? She's the one who told me that, no, South Sudanese like sheep, they buy. So these people, our people are really clever people, if they are supported. They even know things we don't know. I didn't know sheep, even dreaming in my dream, I can't dream sheep. But for her, she knew that sheep has got a market in South Sudan. Nabutono, I don't know who buys Sekoko. I have no idea. But they know. So what they lack is support. So therefore, I want the Exos model. I don't want to live in a parish where there are poor people. That's what I told them. I want to go to heaven. I don't want the angels to block me, say you are an Exosi, you are neighboring poor people, you kept quiet. So I must tell you, I told them. Now you saw the house of Lule. Let's see that man. Show us his house, his coffee. Show us again, the man of Exosi. See the house, see the car. The house, car, coffee. That's how they are now. So the leadership is not for ego, but for the people and the country. In agriculture, it is possible to have pan-Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exos area, I have 9 villages, 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. You didn't show my manager of Exosi, Narwanga. Don't you have her picture? I've got a girl whom I educated from P2. She went to Ndeje, now she's the one managing. Narwanga, these people don't like my useful people. Narwanga tebamwagala bano. In the cattle corridor, most of the original families have joined the money economy through the dairy economy. In order to stabilize agriculture, we are addressing the issue of irrigation. Apart from the big irrigation schemes such as Mobuku, Doho, etc., we are developing many micro solar-powered irrigation schemes, working with the British group known as Nexus Green. As we speak, they have worked with the government to put solar-powered irrigation schemes in Angola, Serere, Bukedea, Amoratar, Kwania, Apache, Kasanda, Masaka, Mukono. Those are some of the irrigation schemes. In conclusion, however, the 2 residual problems with the peasantry are, as I pointed out above, some of them still relying on Oxetura, free range, which underutilizes the land. A square mile of well-cleared farm, no bushes, no mtete, no shrubs, no acacia, will cater for 300 longhorn cattle, including the calves. With pasture growing and zero grazing, a square mile will cater for 6,000 cattle. 6,000 cattle can be fed by a square mile of where you grow the pasture. With free range, you need 3 acres for 1 cow. With zero grazing, 1 acre can support 8 Frisian cattle and 12 Ankole ones. We are aggressively sensitizing them on this. The other residual issue is the primitivity of poverty fragmentation in the form of inheritance after the head of the family has died. These recent arrivals from poverty need to be sensitized about family companies instead of individual inheritance. With these measures and those earlier mentioned, we shall have massive production and will also create jobs for hundreds of millions of Ugandans and the Africans from the neighboring countries. All this is before you add manufacturing, services, and ICT. In this speech, I've spent more time on agriculture. It's not because I don't know, I'm not aware of the other sectors. But this is where many of our people can all move more easily. This is why I'm emphasizing it, especially for you, the new members of parliament. Now, in conclusion, the main problem I have seen in all these 65 years, when I have been active, it has been obutamanya, ignorance, and okwenyoma. Africans underrate themselves. They like what other people do. They don't know how useful what they do is. Our friend Basangwa, show them Basangwa again.
Nze Basangwa Johnson, Managing Director wa Jeka Poultry Farm. Jeka Poultry Farm eyaganibwa Bukwenge, Kamuli Municipality, Kamuli District. Mu 2007 twatandika obulunzi nga tutandikira mu Kamuli Town Council by then mu plot yali 50 feet by 100 feet. There's a foot ya 5 ku 10 eda itaka. Tutandika tutya twali nga tulina ebyobufuzi wano mu Kamuli nga waliwo ensonga nga chairman wero C5 omugenzi Kawuga bamwidukira Katonda mu ekyumulo ekyemirembe nga bamutwoyiremu abantu bangi abatamu application nga bali kwenda okufuuka ba chairman ba 5. Ayi president yaida yatulungamya yakoba ati bana abantu mwena temusobola kuba ba chairman ba 5 aye abantu mujje mukola emirimu egindi ng'okulunda yayogera kulunda embidi okulunda enkoko byonna yabyogera nze napikinga mu kyokulunda enkoko natandika farm mu 2007 n'enkoko 5. Sawa dino wendogerera ku farm kuno tize mabega ntambwire president yaida yankyalira mu 2010 nga ndina enkoko 5,000 yasanuka ino. Sawa dino tutambwire tulina enkoko 1,200 tufulumya amagi etru 2,000 buli lunaku. Etru 2,000 divamu 2,000,000 buli lunaku. Omwezi diva 6,000,000. Omwaka tuba tuli mu billions mukaaga n'ekitundu etuba tukolaki tuingiza. So tuwulirisa omulamwa gwa president okuva ku kiseera ekyo twakati katukigiireku. President awaire musanufu ino ku bintu byenkoze era nga buli kaseera nkyekingako. Wendogerera kati tulina abakozi 300.
Now, that is the story of Basangwa, how he listened to my message in 2007 and started with a small plot for poultry and eggs. is now selling 2,000 trays per day, earning 20 million shillings a day. Now, during the campaign or one of those times, I was showing these pictures, these videos. People in the UK, Ugandans in diaspora, we are watching. They watch, even the ones who are in the diaspora. So when they saw me showing Basangwa earning 20 million shillings a day, they say, Museveni alimba. Museveni is telling lies. How can anybody in Uganda earn 20 million shillings a day? Let's go and see. People came from UK to come and see. They say this picture, which Museveni showed, was taken somewhere else. It's not in Uganda. So they came. Ugandans from UK, they came to check the lie of Museveni. How can Ugandans earn 20 million shillings a day? How can somebody earn 20 million shillings a day? So they came. And they visited Basango. They were shocked to know that what I was saying was actually true. Now, they have actually invited Basango to go and become a lecturer there in the diaspora, to go and visit them. He came and told me, they have invited me, the diaspora have invited me. They didn't believe. This is where the problem is. And when we were talking about these things at Ntare in the school in the 1960s, they said, Museveni is a communist. He's not. They didn't believe. They didn't believe that Ankole cattle were useful. They were teaching in the school that Ankole cows are neither good for meat nor for milk. Really? But I grew with the cows. I said, go to hell. I will never live with the Ankole cows. You want to see them, you show them my cows. Mazreba. How can people? Now these are the most precious cows. The other day Ramaphosa sold one of our cows for 200 million shillings, 187 million. So this is what I have seen. I think the main problem is ignorance and okwenyoma, not having confidence in oneself. I think this is really the main problem. To find people going to work in Dubai, what are you going to do in Dubai? A desert. Dubai. What are you going to do in Dubai? When I go there, I pray that I come back quickly. The temple, the climate, the what? You live paradise here. This is paradise. You go to work in those places. It is inferiority complex, ignorance, poor leadership, uprooted. People who have no roots. I am rooted here. My roots are here. There is nothing I don't know. I grew with our culture. I'm able to know what should be forgotten because it was not scientific enough, but much of it is correct and can be updated. So with these few words, I present the government's legislative program to the Parliament. It is in Annex 1 here. No, Annex 2. There are so many bills which Prime Minister will present to Parliament, the ministers will present the bill for building substances, the small arms, light weapons control, amendment of universities and other tertiary institutions, and there are so many of them here. The laws I will present, my ministers will present to Parliament. There are so many. 38 of them, 38 bills which will be presented. Right Honorable Speaker, I present.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please accept our appreciation for your clear and concise exposition of government policy in your address on the state of the nation. The government's legislative agenda, as contained in your address, will be prioritized pursuant to Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, as and when the front bench introduces them, and I think the Right Honourable Prime Minister, in our first business committee meeting, you will ably do that. Honourable members, today's address by His Excellency will not elicit any comment or question, as per Rule 10, Sub-Rule 4A of the Rules of Procedure. However, at a later date during the session, in consultation with the Business Committee, debate on the President's address on the state of the nation will be scheduled in line with Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure. Honourable members, as you may already be aware, on Thursday, 11th of June 2026, His Excellency the President will deliver the budget speech pursuant to Article 1551 of the Constitution. I therefore urge you all to accordingly take note, and it will take place right here in Kololo Ceremonial Ground at 2 p.m. And I once again want to thank you, Your Excellency, and all dignitaries and invited guests for gracing this function. And my appeal to you all, honourable members of the 12th Parliament, let's stand to be counted, to be the members of Parliament who will sleep no more, to be the members of Parliament who will be remembered for waking up ourselves and waking up our people towards the money economy. We should resolve today to be the generational leaders who do not only listen, but also act on the guidance of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. May God bless you all. Thank you for your kind attention.
The anthems. adjournment.
Honorable members, the House is adjourned to 11th of June, Thursday at 2 p.m. here in Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, when we will receive the budget speech.